Pokemon Nuzlocks. If you don't know how they work, the rules are on the screen. Two kinds of people do Nuzlocks. Fans of the series trying to make their favorite funny magic animal game into a little bit of a more exciting challenge, and sweaty tryhards playing difficulty ROM hacks meant to turn Pokemon from a game to some kind of advanced method of torture. Personally, I've only ever finished one Nuzlocke. I mean, I've tried difficulty hacks before. Getting hours into a game only to have to start all over and spend hours going through the same content all over again isn't something that really interested me. But clearly, I did a Nuzlocke. You read the title, you clicked the video. So did I have a change of heart? Nope! I found a game that solves all the problems I have with Nuzlocks. Enter Pokemon Emerald Rogue, made by PokeM. It's a roguelike, like Faster Than Light or Binding of Isaac, where everything is procedurally generated and never the same twice. And I can't just heal whenever I want, only at certain checkpoints. No free healthcare for my Pokemon. With that out of the way, here is my Pokemon Emerald Rogue Nuzlocke. We name our character Scraw and go with Professor Birch to pick our starter. We got to choose from Lunatone, Azurill, and Ditto. Huge Power Azumarill sounded kinda based later in the game, so we went with that. We named her Slami too, and jumped right in. Our first encounter was Rhydon, which I immediately named Deez because I am a serious member of the legal profession. I was confident Deez was going to be a powerful member of our team. Feel. Moving on. On the next route, we found a Bulbasaur, and yeah, that's Roger. After only 2 encounters, it was time for our first gym battle against Roxanne. Roger swept Roxanne pretty easily. What did you expect? It's the first gym. After turning Roxanne's rocks into sand, we found Illumise, who, sure, is better than nothing, I guess, but I don't think we literally ever used. After that exciting encounter, we ran across an active freeway and found a shy little Ralts under an overpass. We named her Diantha after the best Pokemon champion, don't at me. Diantha is a little shy, but she'll get her chance to battle when she's good and ready. The second gym battle was against Norman, who did exactly 26 points of damage before getting swept by Azumarill. Once I finished taking my daddy issues out on a video game character, we caught Douglas the Digger. Will not elaborate. Once you get this far into the game, you can run into a legendary instead of going through a normal route. I went in and found Latias. After putting it to sleep with Roger, who's all grown up now, I caught Latias in a love ball and named her Integrity, because I'm sure nobody will have any problems with me using a legendary in a Nuzlocke. The battle against Tate and Liza was next, and it was just a Latias sweep. So I'm sure they'll have plenty of stuff to say in the comments with the rest. Moving on, we found a little orange dog, and learned something about the game. There's no PC, there's no way to store your Pokemon, there's no catching Pokemon and saving them for later. So to keep Growlithe, I had to get rid of Cringe the Illumise. It was a difficult decision that I really had to think about. Alright, well, get out of here, Cringe. Raleigh was our next opponent, and real things happened. His Primate's U-turn did almost half to my Latias, and switched into Machamp, who did huge damage to Integrity with Ice Punch. I swapped into Slami and started to do huge chunks into his team. Hitmontop's Toxic meant I couldn't stay in forever. I switched in Roger on his Hitmonchan, and Roger swept his last 3 Pokemon from there. We didn't run into any Pokemon worth catching between these 2 gyms, but the shops in the rest areas started to be a lot better. We bought a substitute TM, so Latias could have a substitute setup strategy, and bought some choice specs for Shy Diantha, who still hasn't seen a battle. Next we fought Watson. Once we were able to get Dugtrio in safely, we just clicked Earthquake 5 times, knocked out his whole team, and called it a day. On the next route, we ran into Magneton, and I had to make a big decision. Puppy the Growlithe wasn't really doing anything, and what are the odds of me finding a Firestone? Of course. So, we said goodbye to Puppy and welcomed Mettaton the Magneton to the team. Good thing we got an electric type because the next gym leader was Juan. This was where battles started to get tough. The battle starts with Rain already up to buff Juan's Pokemon. He leads Crawdaunt, who forces Latias out with his powerful stab knockoff. We switch into Azumarill to take out Crawdaunt with a powerful play roll. Juan sends in Kingler, who threatens to knock out Azumarill, so we switch into Mettaton, who takes the hit with Sturdy. After doing some calcs, I realized there was no way Mettaton would move first. So I switched into Roger to take the Liquidation, and used Giga Drain to knock out King. Juan followed up with Feraligatr. I tried to put it to sleep and missed, letting Feraligatr set up a Dragon Dance. This is where things started to go wrong. I tried to put Feraligatr to sleep again, but Ice Punch killed Roger. Roger! Our first death since these at the very beginning. I think I'm in trouble. I needed to do damage control. After some thinking, I realized that Dugtrio was faster than Feraligatr. even with Feraligatr at +1 speed. Dugtrio had Bulldoze, a move that lowers Pokemon speed, so I sent out Roger and he managed to slow Feraligatr down, but paid with his life. Inspired by Douglas's brave sacrifice, Diantha the Gardevoir took the field for the first time. Determined to make sure no more of her allies died, she moonblasted every last one of Juan's remaining Pokemon. If you like this video so far, consider subscribing. This video has been more work than anything I've done in the past, and I would love to keep up this kind of content going into Scarlet and Violet. With Juan defeated, we had to rebuild. We lost 2 of our most powerful Pokemon. On the next route, we started to rebuild with... a Dugong. On the next route, I caught a Salamence, but it cost me Metaton. 1 step forward, 1 step back. On our way to the 7th gym, we stumbled into a grotto where we found a Politoed, sad and all alone. We took her in and added Mrs. Frog to the team. With our new friend at our side, we had a full team again, just in time to face Winota. Winota led with Pidgeot, which was intimidated by Salamence. Pidgeot U-turned out into Altaria, so I switched into Gardevoir to take a Dragon type. That's the last move Winota clicked, because for some reason, she kept switching in Altaria when I knocked out a Pokemon, and immediately switched it back out, over and over again. Gardevoir just kept clicking Moonblast until Winota was out of Pokemon. On the way to the last gym, I caught a Lapras, which I immediately yeeted Dugong out of the Athena. Yeah. With all of the other gym leaders out of the way, I knew the last one would be Flannery. I know the battle is going to start with Sun set up, so I lead Politoed to Force Rain. This plan worked just about perfectly. Politoed scalded all of Flannery's Pokemon, and Politoed didn't take a single point of damage. To prep for the Elite Four, I chose to do a mini-boss. I ran into Maxie and his Sun team, so Mrs. Frog just did her thing again, and we got a Master Ball for our trouble. We went for another legendary encounter, and I ran into a Lugia, which I immediately Master Balled and named Lewis. After spending a little bit of time preparing at the item shop, it was time for the first member of the Elite Four. First, we faced Glacia. She started our Elite Four challenge with the terrifying, unbeatable Delibird. Politoed took out Delibird with a few Scalds, and Azumarill beat Articuno with Liquidation, but not before being freeze-dried and poisoned, effectively taking it out for the rest of the fight. Politoed came back in and took out Piloswine and Glalie, but then she sent out Cloyster. All the Elite Four members' Pokemon are pulled from a pool of Smogon sets, so I know that Cloyster has Shell Smash. If I just switched and gave her a free turn to set up, that would probably be the end of the run. I go for Scald and get a lucky burn, but it's revealed that Cloyster is holding a Lumberry, so we're not out of the woods yet. I consider my options. I can switch into Salamence to try to mitigate the Shell Smash, but that would probably mean I lose Salamence. And if Cloyster clicks Shell Smash instead of an attacking move, I lose the match. In the end, I decided my best bet is just to attack with Politoed. If Cloyster clicked Shell Smash again, then I guaranteed knock it out. And with Politoed's great defenses, there's a chance it lives an Ice-type or Water-type attack from Cloyster. I get lucky, and the Cloyster goes for a second Shell Smash. Glacia's last Pokemon is a Dugong, and Lugia takes it out effortlessly. 1 down, 3 to go. Drake was up next, but literally all that happened was Gardevoir clicked Moonblast 6 times, and the battle was over. Sidney didn't go as smoothly as the last 2. He led with Mighty Yenna, who immediately got a Moon thrown at him. His Houndoom was taken out by Politoed, and his Crawdaunt couldn't handle how rough Azumarill was playing. When he sent out Absol, I intimidated it with Salamence, then switched in Gardevoir. Gardevoir took way more damage than I expected, so I swapped back in Salamence, who took out Absol with an Earthquake. I tried to set up on his Umbreon with Dragon Dance, but got punished when Umbreon used Foul Play, killing poor Salamence. Gardevoir came back in and did what she does best, spammed Moonblast until the battle was over. While trying to get a replacement for Salamence, I lost Lugia, which was not ideal. Shit! When I got to the rest stop before the next Elite Four, I realized I had a problem. I had no way to heal, only 4 Pokemon, and Azumarill was really beat up. So, I did the unthinkable. At the rest hub, you have the option to swap one of your Pokemon for a random new one, and Azumarill wasn't going to do anything helpful. So, I swapped him. And what did I get for my betrayal? A Zubat. No! Zubat that I could not evolve because I was already at level cap. Betrayed my starter, and the RNG gods punished me for it. With a team full of beat-up Pokemon and a Zubat, I challenged Phoebe. Phoebe led with Sableye that threatened to do a lot of damage to Latios. I switched into Zubat, who immediately got knocked out, letting me get a free switch into Politoed. And I started to spam Scald, taking out Sableye and Banette. Gengar's Cursed Body disabled Scald, so I switched to Latios. Gengar is locked into Focus Blast, which does almost no damage to Latios, so I take the time to set up with Calm Mind and Substitute, eventually forcing Gengar to struggle and knock itself out. Phoebe brought in Shedinja, which was a problem. Sure, I could hit it with Shadow Ball with Gardevoir, but I wasn't confident Gardevoir would live a Ghost-type move on the Switch, so I did something a little more unconventional. I sat there with Latios. Clicking all its moves until finally I struggled. Struggle ignores Wonder Guard and let me take out the Shedinja. Phoebe wasn't done yet though, and followed up with Dusclops. Politoed went for a Perish Song to force Dusclops out in 2 turns. I swapped into Latios to take Perish Song off Politoed, then immediately swapped Politoed back in. I knew Dusclops would switch out this turn, so I clicked Scald with Politoed to catch whatever would switch in, taking out their Mysteries. From there, I got Gardevoir in safely, and took out Dusclops with a Shadow Ball. We got through the Elite Four, but we were down to only 3 Pokemon. I needed a plan. I spent almost all my money buying a Master Ball at a rest hub, taught a few Mons electric moves to beat Wallace, and went on to mine counters. I wandered into a mysterious grotto and found a Swift Swim Kingdra, the perfect companion for Mrs. Frog. I named him Debbie. We got our legendary encounter next and ran into a Raikou, who I immediately threw a Master Ball at, named Kitty. No risks this late into the run. As ready as I could be with my party of 5 Pokemon, I approached Wallace. He led on Crawdaunt, and I led on Gardevoir, who immediately traced Adaptability. Yeah, that's right. I have a Choice Specs, Adaptability, Modest Gardevoir. Wallace clicked 2 moves the whole battle. And just like that, the battle was over. I had defeated all my challenges and... wait. Apparently, there's one more secret boss at the end of the whole thing, so I decided to prep as best I could. By which I mean I put myself in a worse scenario by losing my Politoed to a random Groudon for no value right before the final fight. But there he was. Steven Stone, the real, I hope, last boss of Pokemon Emerald Road. I approached without fear, showing him that while we were outnumbered, my Pokemon were not outmatched. Steven starts with Sandstorm up immediately, and sends out Steelix into my Gardevoir. I switch Gardevoir out to avoid the potential Steel-type move and send out Kingdra, who gets hit by Steelix Toxic. I know at this point there's no saving Kingdra, and he'll just have to do as much damage as possible before succumbing to poison. Kingdra knocks out Steelix and Mawile before getting taken out by Deoxys' Psycho Boost. Kingdra's death gives us a chance. With Deoxys' special attack lowered, we have the perfect window for Latios to set up Calm Mind. But Deoxys stops us in our tracks with Taunt, and starts to trip away at Latios with Pursuit. Deoxys goes down, and Latios does a good chunk to Angron before getting taken out by Head Smash. Raikou comes in, and takes Angron out with Scald. Steven retaliates with an electric type of his own, but doesn't have a good way to damage Raikou, who melts the silly pile of magnets by dousing them with boiling water. Finally, Steven sends out his last Pokemon, Celebi. Raikou gets one last attack in before being taken out, leaving us only with Gardevoir, Diantha, who has come such a long way from being the shy little Ralts we found under an overpass, has grown to be the ace of our team. Gardevoir has single-handedly gotten us out of so many tough spots before, and now, it's all up to her. She goes for a Shadow Ball, as Celebi goes for a Leaf Storm. And, just like that, Celebi goes down. Steven congratulates us, and Diantha takes her place in the Hall of Fame. So that's how I won my Pokemon Emerald Rogue Nuzlocke. It was full of twists and turns, and I was never quite sure what was going to come next. Thanks for coming on this journey with me. Big Pokemon challenges to react to my Nuzlocke to grow my channel before Scarlet and Violet, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.